and I run a PCOS and PCOD support group on WhatsApp, something that I've been doing for the last 6 weeks. Every single week, we've had somebody come in and talk to us about PCOD. So we've had dermatologists, we've had gynecologists, we've had nutritionists, and something that was itching me to do is understand the Ayurvedic approach of PCOD and PCOS. So I'm very, very grateful to have Dr. Nuthan here today, who can tell us a bit more of PCOD and PCOS through the eyes of Ayurveda, through yoga.
No, thank you for joining us, and thank you, first of all, thank you to Komal for inviting me for this on this platform, and giving me an opportunity to talk on PCOD, and that too also Ayurveda perspective. As we all know that there are a lot of people, and the main young generation is suffering from this problem, and I would definitely like to help my community wherever I go. I do take even prenatal, postnatal yoga and Garbha Sanskar classes, where I have this, one of the topic is PCOD also. So let me start. Shall we start, Komal? Start with one Omkar, because this is even Ayurveda and Yoga. I cannot separate myself from both these subjects. So I would like to start this with the prayer. So I request all of you, please close your eyes and we'll chant Om, and then we'll start with the session. So close your eyes, sit straight, back neck straight, join your hand, settle down yourself, observe your inhalation and exhalation. Relax completely. Your facial muscle should be relaxed. Your neck, shoulders should be relaxed. Back should be relaxed. And just observe normal inhalation and exhalation going on. Now take a deep breathing. Inhale and exhale. Deep breathing and deep breathe out. Continue 2 to 3 rounds. This will help you to focus on the present moment. Now let's begin Om chanting together. Inhale and start. Om. Second round, inhale. Om. Last round, inhale. Om. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Gently rub your palm, put on your eyelid, and open your eyes, hands down. So welcome back to all of you. Let's begin with the presentation. I'll be discussing in my session about this. These are the pointers where the signs and symptoms of PCOD, how to diagnose, what is the treatment, modern science think of, and mainly I'll be exploring more on the basis of Ayurvedic aspects. How to prevent this PCOD starting from the young generation, and what will be the treatment if somebody is already suffering from PCOD, what Ayurveda says about it. And then lastly, we will be, I have a lot of posture which has been there in my slide, but we will be able to do it hardly few things. So let's see how time permits. So if you see this first slide, you will see there are normal ovary and polycystic ovary. I assume that all of you have been aware about this structure of the ovary and the reproductive system, female reproductive system, having that uterus and then fallopian tube and ovary. So assuming all that things, then I am discussing this. Okay. So polycystic ovary name itself is telling you there is a problem in the ovary. Okay. And poly means many and cyst means the fluid filled sac. The follicle which are there inside the ovary, they are having the fluid, and it is lined up inside the ovary or the surface of ovary. So that is what you will see in this slide. So normal ovary has the normal, the growth of the follicle is happening from primary follicle, it's becoming secondary, tertiary, and then the Graafian follicle, and then it comes out timely, and then ovulation happens, and then that egg has been caught by the fallopian tube, and then in the fallopian tube, this egg waits for some days so that the sperm will come and fertilize. If it doesn't come, then the egg moves forward and the shedding happens in the form of menstruation. So this is what the menstrual cycle and the ovarian cycle, which normally one has. Okay. But in polycystic ovary, there are a lot of problems occurs, and it defines, actually polycystic ovary is a condition where immature follicle collects on the surface of the ovary due to defective process of ovulation that arise from the disturbance in HPO axis. Now, what is HPO axis? It is nothing but it is the brain and body communication happening. Okay. So the hypothalamus stands for H, P stands for your pituitary gland, and O stands for ovary. Okay, so that is called HPO axis. And this hypothalamus pituitary gland is located in our brain, and that's how it is giving the command to the ovary so that that ovulation should happen timely. And if it doesn't happen, then the ovary get affected and the PCOD may occur. So there are a lot of causes. If you have seen in these causes that many times nowadays irregular lifestyle is the common cause. Faulty diet is one of the common cause. Sedentary lifestyle, so that the obesity has been increased. And hereditary factor. Actually, there are a lot of people who has the history in their family, but if they manage their diet, discipline, and lifestyle properly, then this disease may not manifest into them. Okay, it manifests only if they are also not following the healthy lifestyle, healthy diet pattern, and the rest. So that's why hereditary definitely act as a additional factor. Not necessary that everybody has that history. Even some people can start from their generation and pass it on to next generation. So the cause, even if we have these are the causes, but still people are doing a lot of research, and it is idiopathic. Some people do not understand why it happens, even if following a lot of good diet and lifestyle. So having understood that, this is common, one in every five young girls, you will find that one lady is suffering from PCOD. Okay, and complication, there are many complications which is there in my slide, but many are suffering from infertility. That is the biggest issue when the woman is concerned about, or the mother of that teenage girl is concerned about, that the girl is going to conceive it or not. And what are the signs and symptoms? So there are a lot of 50% women are suffering from the irregular menstruation, or many times heavy bleeding, or then the obesity or hirsutism, and there are a lot of things. If you see this, there is a follicular phase which has been shown here, reproductive system. If anybody is not aware about our reproductive system, this is look like this. Now let's move ahead. This is what the process which I told you, menstrual cycle and ovulatory cycle. If this is happening normally, then there is no chance of PCOD. Okay. If there is a problem in this physiological process of menstruation and ovulation, then the person may suffer from the PCOD. So if you see, this is a egg matures, then egg is released, and then the endometrium is developing, and then endometrium is shedding. So this is what this slide is telling you. Now, how it presents? So we know that there are a lot of symptoms which I have already mentioned. Here are few more symptoms. Acne problem is the common. Testosterone level is increased, the male hormones, okay? That has been increased here. Androgen increases, and that's why women may get, the hairs on their chin. and they feel very much awkward, and even cosmetic expense increases due to this all those things. Okay, and the body shaming because obesity is there. And if married woman is suffering from this, she may suffer from low sex drive, and there will be the problem in even relationship later on. So this is actually the group of symptoms. PCOD is not only one disease, it is a group of disease, group of other things also there, and that's how it present with the many symptoms. And mood changes means stress also add a lot of factors to change the function of this HPO axis, or the hormones and organ communication get affected. So homeostasis doesn't happen, and the problem starts. Complication may, I told you about infertility is the one. Diabetes also will occur, then the blood pressure may occur. If woman is married and conceive, sometimes even miscarriage is happening. So if you take a proper history, some woman is suffering from consistently miscarriage abortion, one should think of even these causes. Even PCOD problem must be there. And cancer, uterine and ovarian distress also there. So how should a doctor approach such a patient if some patient comes with the PCOD? And it depends on the individual. Treatment always Ayurveda thinks on the individual basis. It's not the common. Okay. So first main treatment is first doctor has to take a history properly. Second, counseling is very important part of the treatment. And then diet is the first line of treatment as per Ayurveda. And then comes all other medicine and exercise, diet are the main part of the treatment of PCOS as per Ayurveda. Medicines are the second line of treatment. Okay, now let's understand how it looks when one how to diagnose. There are many diagnoses, blood tests are there, and if you see the scan, sonography is the main thing. If after 18 years or the 16 year, if one do the sonography, you will see this pearl necklace type of look inside the scan. See here I have shown you the scan, and you will see the linings are there. It looks like pearl shape, right? So this defines that the ovary is having a lot of cyst. Okay, and what modern science gives you birth control pills which has estrogen and progesterone daily to restore the hormone cycle, because they target on the symptomatic. If the cycle is not regular, then there will be the problem. So first is that cycle should be regular. That's why hormonal treatment has been given. The external support of estrogen and progesterone has been given to the women. And then these hormones come in pill, patch or vaginal ring. It can be in a various way. And metformin is one of the drug which is the drug of choice from modern point of view to improve insulin level. Okay, and the third is what I want to emphasize here, here are another, after metformin there is a clomiphene for fertility drug, because many times PCOD we have seen that infertility is the fear. So to avoid this, clomiphene also added with the metformin. And the severe cases, they may do a surgery also. Okay, so let's move ahead. A very important understanding, that is Ayurvedic perspective, and that is what my area. I have spoken because I always want to connect with all of you, and many people are may not aware about the word Vata, Pitta, Kapha. So hormones is very much familiar, but these three dosha are, some people will say, what is this now? So how the modern science think of the hormones, we cannot relate it. Hormone is equal to three dosha, but Ayurveda has the principle which is mainly based on this three dosha, three guna, sapta dhatu, means the tissues of our body. So here I'll be explaining what happens in PCOD and how Ayurveda look into it. So it says that the kapha is the main predominant dosha in PCOD, and this kapha also been affected by the vata, because the pitta is also there. So now how it works, let me explain you this. We have seen the ovulatory cycle and menstrual cycle. In that I have explained you that how these follicles are growing, right, in the ovary, and then it becomes the mature. So this generation is happening, organization is happening, and degeneration is happening, right? So you can, means I always tell my student, understand the word God. God is not the religious that things, but God, generation, organization, and degeneration. Okay. So degeneration means what here? Here the shedding of your means we start from the menstrual blood is coming out. So it comes out. Movement is happening only with the help of Vata dosha or Vayu or air. Air ke bina movement is not going to happen. Okay. So that is the Vata predominant during our menstrual cycle. Then Ayurveda talks about if the, and in PCOD that problem is that the shedding is not happening. So Vata is one affected, right? And the second problem is that the ovulation is not happening, means the egg is not coming out from the ovary, right? So that is the problem of Pitta dosha, that Pitta means the transformation happening only with the help of Pitta dosha, right? If the egg is formed, mature, and it has to come out, but it is not coming out, so there is a problem of Pitta dosha as well. And the other problem is that the maturation, growth and development of the follicle is affected. So that is the function of Kapha, because Kapha is always stands for the growth and development or the proliferation. Okay. So I hope everybody understood the relation between this Kapha, Pitta and Vata in relation of this follicle maturation and it egg fertilize egg coming out and then it is moving. So this function or the imbalance in the three dosha leads to this whole PCOD problem or Kapha. So symptoms also giving you same indication. It's mainly about the Kapha disorder because it's due to Kapha get means it is inside obstructed, and that's why the Vata is not able to take that do that movement. So one need to see that obesity is also Kapha problem, that irregular menstruation is the Vata problem, right? So to treat this Vata and Kapha, we need to do the some treatment which will clear this path, okay, which will just remove the obstruction, and that Kapha should be proper and the movement of Vata should happen. So all three dosha play important role and distinctive role in the process behind the female reproduction and the ovarian cycle. So PCOS is due to accumulation of Kapha blocks, Vata and Pitta, hence movement is obstructed and the transformation process is hampered. Okay. So Vata is responsible for the movement of follicle during the ovarian cycle and menstrual cycle. Pitta is responsible for the transformation and Kapha is responsible for adequate growth of the follicle and also for the fertility. So this is what I have repeated because one should take, one understand when we repeat. So I have repeated by reading and also explaining the dosha. Then this dosha, another concept comes in the picture where the Ayurveda says that not only dosha, when dosha get imbalanced, there is a problem in dhatu as well. And dhatu is nothing but the tissues which support our whole body. Okay. And there are 7 types of dhatu which is given in Ayurveda, and they are Rasa, Rakta, Mansa, Meda, Asti, Majja, and Shukra. Okay. I know many of you might be hearing this word first time. So without getting disturbed about all those new terminology, just understand it is just the problem where the artha means the bleeding is coming out, and this blood is nothing but rakta dhatu, and rasa is nothing but whatever diet we are taking, that is the essence of that food which we have taken. It has to absorb, and then from that rasa whole all the dhatus get nourished, and the end dhatu is our shukra, and shukra is related with our this follicle or the female ovum, and that's how this diet and your this shukra or the ovarian cycle or menstrual cycle are related with. And here Ayurveda has specific connection. That's why diet plays very important role even for your normal menstruation, keeping the health of your ovary normal and not allowing that the accumulation of adipose tissue, which is actually happening in PCOD. Obesity is the main symptoms if you see, right? So if your diet, if you're not able to digest the food, then that food may convert into the fat, and that fat get accumulated on your the surface area which is there, right, your tummy region and your hip region, thigh region. So here you will see that the most of the women get, you know, obesity or the more accumulation of this adipose tissue, and that's why the other dhatus will get lack of nutrition or lack of getting that nourishment which has to be happen. Okay, and then the shukra dhatu or the ovum is not going to be properly. I hope everybody is clear until now. Just give me one thumbs up. If any query, let me know or inbox me. We'll go ahead. So the main, you should understand that we cannot relate hormone and tridosh, but at the same time, we should understand how, if we want to relate it, how it relate with the hormones. So vata imbalance means there is a low estrogen, okay, high cortisol because stress accumulates, mood swings are there, anxiety, insomnia is there in PCOD. Then pitta imbalance means there is a irritability, night sweats also there, okay. Autoimmune thyroid even problem that PCOD women is suffering from, even thyroid also, because it is a metabolism is affected, okay. And kapha imbalance means there is a high level of insulin you will find in the PCOD, high level of, and even type 2 diabetes, that is the lifestyle disorder which we say, that has been even seen in the PCOD. Even hypothyroid is there, and there is a obstruction in the circulation as well. So the whole system has been, the most of the system get affected due to imbalance in tridosha. So one should understand how to, let's look at what is the problem, how to diagnosis, that is the work of doctor. Now how we can do and solve this problem, being at the home, and if we are diagnosed with the PCOD, what could, or we are not facing PCOD but we don't want it to happen. So the main is Ayurveda is giving us the opportunity to work upon our diet and the lifestyle and discipline in our own, you know, thought process, starting from the thought process till the action. So let's understand what are the treatment. So in diet, Ayurveda says one need to, you know, use most of the unprocessed food, okay. And then it's not about the taking only the diet which has been having a lot of fiber or lot of other nutrition, but it's also about how you take it, you know, and how you cook it, what are the vessels you use it, okay. We are not at all looking on that factor. Everybody comes to me and asks what to eat. They are not asking how to eat, when to eat, or how am I eating, you know. So I want to, you know, give this guidance through this platform, that one should not only think what to eat, whatever you are eating, if you are eating with the gratitude to the food, okay, first you have to change your attitude. And once you create that attitude of gratitude towards your plate or the food which is in your plate, that starts your digestion starts from there. Then you take in your mouth, then you chew it properly, okay. Then from chewing, your salivary glands, you know, take care of half of the things. Then after that, when that food goes in your stomach, then it's going to become the rasa, the exact nutrition, whatever inside your food. You have all kinds of, most of us, I think yoga teacher are here, so they are taking care of diet, but then also some people are still suffering. So where you are lacking, or all women, all of us now, due to COVID-19, we have more become conscious about all those things, you know, cleanliness and things, but still we need to, you know, work more on our attitude towards the diet. And that's what Ayurveda and yoga always insist and tell us, that we should always start digestion from the, you know, seeing or giving the gratitude till it reaches, we have control of the this food we are taking till our mouth. Later on it goes down through your food pipe and in the stomach, okay. So in stomach there is a HCl or hydrochloric acid is there, which has to be, you know, proper, or as per Ayurveda we talk about Jaఠaragni or the digestive fire. If it is not working good for you, or we can say about Pitta also. So Agni and Pitta, it is, you know, related. So if it is not working for you, then whatever food you have taken, it will not digest completely. and it will form toxins, and then that toxins will go into circulation, and that will cause problem to your whole part, whole other organs also. And in that organ, even your ovary is one of the organ, so it will not get nourished. Okay, so one should understand that that ama dosha, ayurveda call it that half digested food is ama dosha. If this ama is not allowed it to form, and it should be, food should digest completely, and then it after, after stomach, it is digested in the duodenum, the next part of the stomach, and the first part of your intestine. Then it goes to your small intestine, where exactly the absorption happens. So whatever food you are taking, it is absorbed properly from the small intestine into the blood circulation. Okay, and then the nourishment starts. Then it goes to heart, then it reaches to lungs, then oxygenated from the lungs, and then again heart carries all that oxygenated blood and the full of nutrition whatever you have sent through food. Then it goes to the other parts of your body, and it nourishes all your organs and all your dhatus, and in that shukra dhatu or the ovum or egg is related. So one need to be very much careful while taking this food, by giving that more, important of all those factors. Then only your digestion will be very good, or it will be useful to prevent yourself from getting that manifested form of PCOD. Okay. Now, second thing is discipline. Now, yoga starts with the discipline. The first shloka, which has been given in Patanjali Sutra, that is Atha Yoga Anushasanam. So, Anushasana means your discipline, disciplining your whole, means social conduct as well as the personal conduct. That comes under the first two anga of Ashtanga Yoga. Okay, and that's what the Anushasan discipline is, not be taken as just the force rules and regulation, but it should be imbibed inside you, as it is a part of your life. Nobody is forcing you to do it, but you are doing it from the will, and then it will work for you. Okay, so discipline your lifestyle, and yoga helps. Yoga not only doing your hands and leg up and down, it starts with your disciplining your attitude, disciplining your mental state, body posture, and everything. So that's what the healthy lifestyle is. And yoga also tells, if somebody, because every day we eat, there are some formation of waste product happening inside our body. Even if digestion is happening, there is a, the waste matter which has been formed, and it has been sent to the large intestine, and then it comes out. One is the solid part, that is stool, and the urine, liquid part. So these are the excretion should happen properly, right? Still, some we are also suffering from constipation, even irritable bowel syndrome, like IBS. It is called as IBS, gas trouble, and there are also many times one means it is also related to your gut. This PCOD is also related to gut problem, and that is what I have explained diet for that. Because if your digestion is happening clearly, your gut, your colon are clean, then there will be the proper nourishment and absorption of all the nutrition is going to happen. And that's why in yoga we start with the shuddhi kriya, that is the cleansing practices. So there, and in Ayurveda there are panchakarma. You might have heard this word: vaman, virechan, nasya, raktamotion, basti. All those are the panchakarma which has to be done under the expert guidance and the yoga guru. Okay, Shatakarma is given in the yoga, where the Shuddhi Kriya, it is actually Shuddhi Kriya, where your digestive system, respiratory system, your nervous system has been cleaned with all the accumulated toxins, and then only you can proceed with whatever the asana, pranayam, dhyan, all those things are there. If you are not having cleaned that and you are sitting for the meditation or the pranayama, that effect will not come to you. Understood? So the effect, and you're not able to even focus. Even the yoga guru is telling you, or the yoga master is telling you, close your eyes and focus on your breath, but you're not able to do it. Why? Because there are obstruction, there are some problems which are, inhibiting you to do that. You want to do it, but your body is not giving you that, the what we say, the coordinate, body is not able to coordinate you, or the mind is not able to coordinate it because there are a lot of thoughts and there are a lot of things around you. So that's why one need to go for cleansing practices first, disciplining your attitude, and then go for other things. And then lastly, Ayurveda has the Ayurveda herbs also. It's not only diet, but then even Ayurveda has Shatavari, Shilajit, Vibhitti, there are Guduchi, Avla, Devdaru, Ashwagandha, and there are a lot of medicines are there. Of course, all those herbs should be taken under the guidance of Ayurveda expert and not directly. Shatavari, it's safe. It's like you can take Shatavari because it's a friend of women, it is said in Ayurveda. So Shatavari granules you can take with the milk also. Okay. So, but it depends what is the dose and all. If you want my help, I'll be always there. Now let's see what are the practices which one can start off. So there are we have understood, until now we have understood there is a problem in the circulation also, there is a problem in digestion, there is a problem of cleansing also. And that's why the proper physiology is not happening, menstruation is not happening, and the ovulation is not happening. So let's start, one should start with the micro circulation. Start working on your micro circulation, and there comes the Sukshma Vayama, where only the, just moving your neck up and down, where you are seeing in the picture, just moving neck up and down. Now you will say how it will affect to ovary or the ovulation, or where my ovary is here and you are moving neck here. So let me tell you here, because our neck has thyroid gland. Okay, all of you might be knowing this. Thyroid gland is working for the metabolism or the digestion. It is indirectly take control on our all the gut and the full digestive tract. So if your digestion is proper, we know that everything will be proper. And that's where we should start doing these simple practices. Even sitting wherever you have sit, you just try to take your chin down, come to the center, take back and stay there, then take center, then do right, wait for there, then come to the center, then do left. This is called Brahma Mudra. This is also, I always recommend, do not do any posture or the asana or the Sukshma Vayama without understanding its meaning. So when we understand the meaning and then do it, then it gives you double effect. So Brahma Mudra is basically, it is telling you holistic view. Okay, when we look at down, up, right, left, we are taking the holistic view, right? And we develop our attitude also. So just now I have told you that attitude training. So if you are not having that attitude training, you can start with this practice. Regularly 10 to 15 rounds, slow, steady, you start doing this and see the result. Consistency matters, okay? And then you will find that yes, there are many changes happening. Now let's see. Just now I have told you about the Shuddhi Kriya. There are Kapalbhati, all of us very well aware about this Shuddhi Kriya, that is Kapalbhati, right? You have seen our yoga guru Ramdev Babaji, who is always, doing this tummy up forcefully, exhalation and inhalation happening. So this is nothing but it is cleansing process, okay? So that's, and our uterus or the reproductive system is located in the pelvic region. So if you do this Kapalbhati, means it will help you to stimulate your this internal follicle or the circulation. So Kapalbhati is the Kriya which you can practice in PCOD. Of course, you have to take the guidance. It is an individual. Individual has to talk to doctor, and then they should follow. Then Agnisar one is the Kriya which has shown here. Even that is working on your abdominal and pelvic area and the core muscle. There is very easy and very effective practice, that is Anulom Vilom Pranayam. After doing this Shuddhi Kriya, you should actually go for asana and then go for pranayama. This should be the sequence, okay? So first you can do Shuddhi Kriya, then you can go for asana practice, and then you can go for the pranayama practice, okay? So here Anulom Vilom Pranayama, this is nothing but alternate nostril breathing. We can practice this after completion of this whole slides. Later on, there is a Brahmari Pranayama also. where you should make the sound while exhaling, humming sound, which will give vibrate your internal, the whole process, because when you do humming sound, that gives a good internal massage to your even thyroid gland and internal facial muscles, as well as circulation happens very well. And also it may, even affect your HPO axis. HP mainly hypothalamus and pituitary gland. These are the master organs which are working on all body parts of the human being. uh, I have told you that perform asana connecting its meaning, because yoga is mainly working on your emotional brain. Whenever I talk about nervous system, because we have seen that our ovary or the all the organs are working with the master gland, that is our hypothalamus and pituitary gland. So if we want to work on that, then the whole problem will solve. That's why yoga has very good result for PCOD and the all women's health issue. So it's basically working on emotion. It is culturing your emotions. Once that emotions are clear, their mental toxins are not there, then half the problem will solve. So stress plays very important role in PCOD. That's why all those asana which I have shown in this picture is going to help on your PCOD problem. And sequence, if you do sequence wise, it's good. If not, just do 2 3 asana which has been shown here, which you are able to do it. Do that. See, it's not important how many asana or pranayama you are doing daily. It's important that one asana, if you are doing, do it regularly and increase the round, increase the holding time. Slowly progress in that asana. Then that asana is going to give you the effects which it creates on that particular part or particular organ. If we want to work on our ovary, ovulation and menstruation, definitely our abdomen area comes into the picture. At the same time, it relates with our pituitary and hypothalamus, so the whole body actually comes into the picture. So all asana which involved all those parts is going to help for the PCOD problem. Okay, so this Shashankasana, Baddha Konasana, Upavishta Konasana, Hanumanasana, simple resting position, lying down, breech pose, which has been shown here, Sarvangasana, Viparit Karni, Halasana. So it depends. It's not necessary that you should do all those topsy-turvy if you are not able to do it. So do it slow, steady. There is a thumb rule in yoga. One should understand that Yatha Shakti means as per capacity. One should perform asana or the posture as per your own capacity, and not the person who is doing it, who is already yoga teacher, who has already practiced, and they have flexible body. But if you are starting it, don't do any trial and tested things on your body. Okay, nowadays we are doing online classes, online practices, so you should be more careful doing these online classes and understand your own body. You are your own teacher, you are your own doctor now at home. So you should understand your limitation, that is as per capacity. Second thumb rule is do it with the prana shakti, means understanding your internal breathing, how the breath is flowing. Is it fast? Is it slow? Or is it having any fluctuation? So if you found that the breathing is fast, means you are in stress and you are not able to connect with your body. So yoga actually, it means that connection, right? It's a union of your body and mind. And when your body and mind is connected, your soul which is there, it's right there. And the key point is your breath, right? That's why breathing plays very important role in connecting this tripod. And also our sense organs are in yoga, we say it should directed inward, right? So it's very difficult to control these sense organs, because we are always directed outward, since even sense organs also structured as the directing outward. Our eyes look outward, our ears also directed outward, our nose are want to smell outside, our skin is completely facing outside. So but the point is that yoga always tells us, instead of going this outward direction, you have to direct your sense organ inward, each and every part of your sense organs, or the taking the knowledge what is there within you, not what is there outside. because then there are outside is multiple, you will see multiple things are happening and you may get distracted. So instead of getting distracted, just direct your under your intention or prana inward and then see the result. And it needs a lot of training, it needs a training. आपको ट्रेनिंग करना बहुत जरूरी है माइंड को, क्योंकि अवर माइंड monkey mind. Okay, it is a monkey mind and it is moving like nobody can control this mind even if we want to. So it takes time and for that you need to do it regularly. So Patanjali says that सतु दीर्घ काल नैरंतर्य, आपको ये प्रैक्टिस कितने दिन तक करनी चाहिए? हमेशा whatever whoever comes to me, how many days I will get result from my illness? एक तो वो लेट आते हैं ट्रीटमेंट के लिए, ठीक है, डिसीज इज क्रोनिक. And then second thing, their two questions are the FAQ, frequently asked question, what to eat and how many days I will get the result. So my answer is, what to, instead of what to eat, you are eating properly, eat it with consciousness, with proper attitude. Second answer is, you have to do it lifetime. PCOD, tell me one thing, that how many means a modern doctor is saying you that you don't need to take lifetime medicine. In PCOD, treating you hormonal support, they tell you you have to do continuously, at least 1 year follow-up, minimum 1 year follow-up you have to give to the doctor, right? Even if you are taking that tablets. And how many of you are going regularly to the doctor and doing your test properly and seeing the result? कि क्या हो रहा है, ये मैं मेडिसिन ले रही हूँ, वो मेडिसिन का असर कितने दिन तक हुआ है, या मैं डॉक्टर से बात करूं. So many ladies have started and once their periods are regular, they stop medicine by their own. So even my advice is, don't stop any medicine once you have started. Take the guidance of that doctor who have started and then add with that permission of that the doctor. Even if modern doctor, these are the hormonal tablets which may cause you problem if you stop it abruptly. So you have to take the guidance, take the note from them that you can also practice yoga and you can also take some Ayurveda support also. Then you can do it this integrated therapy on you with all this integration in modern allopathic and yogic advices. Otherwise, just don't use your mind in this factor, because you're playing with your hormones, you're playing with your three dosha, you're playing with your dhatus. No, so don't do this at any time. And also advise in your community that please take the proper guidance. And the main, my favorite shloka, which is here, and favorite line, that ahar, nidra and brahmacharya, these are the things which has been given in Ayurveda thousands and thousands of years ago, when the lifestyle was very good, when the lifestyle is not like us, like irregular things and uncertainty is there. So that time also Rishi has already written about this, that the beautiful shloka which is given in the Bhagavad Gita, that yukta ahar viharasya yukta chestasya karmasu yukta swapna avabodhasya yoga bhavati dukkha. Means what? Yukta ahar vihar means your diet and lifestyle. Yukta chestasya karmasu matlab aapki activity. Now chesta means your activity, and that activity is not only related with your body, it's related your thoughts also. What you are thinking, what you are watching, which channel you are watching more, what is the video is going on consistently. See your Google data, which app you are running more. Facebook, are you more on Facebook, are you more on Insta, are you more on YouTube? And if you are watching video, what type of video are you watching? So all those that accumulates thoughts in your mind, and that thoughts indirectly it is a mental diet. Okay, so we have talked about the physical diet, what to eat, what food plate, dal, chawal, roti, sabji. Everybody knows that yukta ahar, satvik ahar. I will be not talking more on that because there are a lot of things which people are talking on it. So everybody knows this satvik ahar and how much water should be taken. But think that the mental diet also, what you are watching. So that is what yukta chestasya karmasu. Your karma should be samatol, means the balance. Okay. And then yukta swapna avabodhasya. Swapna means you're sleeping. and avabodha means waking up. So at what time you are sleeping and at what time you are waking up. So it should be properly balanced. Ayurveda says that one should wake up in the Brahma Muhurta. Now Brahma Muhurta time is 4 to 6. How many of us are waking up at this between 4 to 6? Tell me. And now in COVID, in lockdown, now the time is more increased more. Nobody is there because we don't want to go, means there is nothing to go outside. So we are waking up late because in mentally it is told that we don't there is nothing to go, means we don't have any more schedule. Okay, so it is okay to sleep. So mind में एक बार आप mind में आप register कर देते हो ना, it will affect on your body. So start, looking from that angle. This is what the lifestyle change you have to, and it should start from the thoughts. I always, tell my student that twa, that is the thoughts, words, and action should be in alignment. The way you think, your word will come. You will start talking about the same thing. You can watch what you are talking, what you are discussing with your community, because that is your thought. And then action will be same, related to your thoughts and related to your words. So if you really want to understand yourself, just check yourself, what you're talking and what you're thinking, and what then see the action is same. So, and if these are in the balanced state, then yoga, that the Bhagavad Gita said that if you are following all those things, that is also yoga, and it will remove all your suffering. And we know that PCOD, how much women are suffering, how much people are suffering, right? The girls who are young girls, I have many patients of PCOD I have treated, and I have even seen the result. I have seen even the person who is doing yoga, and she has to shave her chin regularly, but still mentally she is very strong. Mentally she is very strong. That's how the suffering is the option. See, the problem we cannot avoid, but the suffering we can avoid, right? And that's why we need to take care of this ahar, nidra, and brahmacharya. Rest is also important. The way means our digestion, half the time our stomach or internal organs acts or get time when we sleep. That our organs get time to act on that food which we have sent inside, to take it forward and make it nutritious and nourish our cell. That happens only when we sleep. So the sleep is important, rest is important. And brahmacharya word is only taken as a sexual code of conduct, but it is more than that. Even if I have written here, but I am explaining you that brahmacharya is nothing but walking on the path of brahmana, or the natural. If you are go with the flow as the nature is asking you to do, then there will be no problem. And that is a fact. Even if you will learn to live your life in the stillness, even if you are in the illness. So मतलब PCOD है, फिर भी आप दुखी नहीं होंगे. That is the more things which you can take from this my lecture. We cannot avoid this PCOD or things. Yes, if we follow some lifestyle, definitely we can prevent its manifestation in early age, and it can prevent even complication, which we have seen. But at the same time, you should not suffer from going through all those patches or the stages of life. And another beautiful principle which has given in Ayurveda, that is the natural urges. Don't stop your natural urges. So there are 13 types of natural urges which has been given. Here I have written few of them, that is urine, stool, flatus, vomiting, sneezing, belching, yawning. We never take care consciously about all those urges, right? Sometimes we are in webinar or we are talking with somebody and we just control our urine, right? We feel thirsty, we want to drink water, but since the water is not here nearby to me, so I will control my thirst. And this is happening unconsciously. We are not conscious about it. So all those urges, natural urges are there. Attend that. That is what the attendance of the things which is there naturally. Then definitely you can prevent many problems. And other important things I have written here: cleanliness, sleep. I told you that how sleep helps us to prevent our stress and digest food properly and to become part of it, right? And lastly, I think Just a minute, sorry. So that's it. I think that is what my last slide. Uh, Finally, I want to give one message to all of you. I have talked about what is the PCOD and how it affects. One should know about menstrual cycle, their side effect, complication, what Ayurveda says, and we have understood diet, discipline, and lifestyle. So after this lecture, what you can take from this, how you can change your lifestyle.
Just going to look at some of the questions. I'm requesting everyone to send in any questions that you have onto the chat so that I can moderate it and we can, discuss it accordingly. So the first thing that I can see here is I think somebody while you were doing your chat was talking about um, can it be reversed also? Like it can be reversed too, right? She asked that. And also somebody asks, does PCOD in a teenage girl relapse?
So there are two questions that one is it is going to reverse or not. See, I cannot say it's going to completely reverse, but I can say that it's depend on individual. You know, when it starts, how it that the person is taking medication and how much regular, what are the result, and depends on all these factors. Definitely, one if they have started some modification in early stage, then definitely it can be reversed. But if the disease is already became chronic, then one need to wait for longer time to get result of it. And like I have given you the complete aspect that modern science don't stop medicine, what the doctor has started uh, to you, hormonal support, diet, and lifestyle. In the lifestyle, I told you disciplining yourself, sleep pattern, and your yoga practice, exercise, because your weight is causing a lot of problem to curing this disease. So all of you might have heard that reduce your weight loss program ke liye jate hain log. But if you are taking care of all those factors, definitely it can be cured and reverse also.
Doctor, you say that continue having medicine and all that. I completely understand that, but I'll just give you an example of myself. So when I got diagnosed with PCOD, my gynecologist straight away said to me, okay, have this medication and you lose the weight and we'll be able to get it under control. But I have always been somebody who's not um, I don't want to say anti-medicine, but I just avoid it as much as I can. Like I don't even take painkillers when I have a headache or any kind of cramps. So for me, I was dedicated that I'm gonna try not to take medicine. And something that probably would have taken me 6 months to get under control, it took me well over a year to try and manage the symptoms, because as far as what I have understood about PCOD, it never really goes away. You can just control the symptoms. So I just wanted to ask you, so if there's somebody who doesn't want any kind of medicine from doctors, is there a plan, or is there anything Ayurvedic that can actually manage all the symptoms of PCOD?
Yes, Ayurvedic, like I said, diet and medicine both are there, and plus yogic practices. We can work upon these factors, but we need to study the case. We don't want to give the false claims on any kind of things. You are the great example in front of all of us. So I think you mean your willpower. See what you said, that you don't want to, right? So I said thoughts matters a lot. So any person who is suffering from any kind of illness, not about only PCOD, but the major illness can be, overcome with the willpower, and the medicine will start working for you, or the whatever the choice of pathy you follow, it is going to work for you, because you have that created that thoughts that I want to cure, and I want to cure with this particular medicine. The faith, श्रद्धा जो होती है, वो डेफिनेटली सबसे ज्यादा महत्वपूर्ण है. So you need to have that self confidence in you and then go ahead. I can completely agree with you, Komal, because even I haven't suffered from any gynecological disorder, thank God, till now. But I have overcome many other problems of mine, health related, with this willpower. So it is possible.
Asked, in spite of diet, also weight loss is not there. Have you got a patient who has a similar complaint to this?
Yes, lot of lot of patients are like this. We are not getting result. But at the same time, diet means how? Like, are you taking care of diet the way I told you right now in this lecture? Means it's not controlling, or it's not like missing your time, any time of reducing food intake. It's not the quantity; it's a qualitative, and it's a attitude wise. If you have followed that, and even sleep. So diet is not eating, but it's about digesting it. So I always add this in my articles also. I have written in past that we are not only what we eat, we are what we digest. Okay, so it's very important to that, because whatever food we are taking, it's going to become our part, our all dhatu. So if it is not becoming our part, means it's becoming either the toxins, or it's going through waste matter without becoming our part. So it's not digesting, in short. So to digest it, you have to do some activities, and in that activity, this yoga helps, and your regular even walking, because when you walk and when you sleep, it helps for your digestion. So basically, if you're following that along with all those things, it should work for you.
Question is, what's your review about Putra Jivak and Shivling Beach? And another one says, does Ayurvedic medicine have any side effects? Which is something I also want to know.
See, this Putra Jivak and Shivlinga is something which is Ayurvedic herbs, and it should be taken under the guidance if they are. And it's basically for the people who wants to conceive and after marriage. These are the particular preparation which has been given. See, side effects, if you are taking with proper dose, under proper guidance, and the way it has been taken, like warm water mostly, doctor will advise you take this medicine 2 tablets 3 times a day, after half an hour meal or before meal. So if you are taking with the guidance of doctor prescription, it will not create you any side effect. But if you are following it just because you missed taking that period, taking that pills on time the way it has been asked, and then you remember and then you pop up like that, then there will be the problem. So my answer is, you should take it as per guided, and then it will not create problem.
Question is, what superfoods do you suggest for improved fertility?
Superfood. first first of all, Ayurveda doesn't have such a terminology like a superfood. Okay, so all food is super as per Ayurveda. If you take it on time, with proper preparation, cook it with love. Okay, that is if somebody, same thing, dal chawal, if you eat with different people, perform with the same ingredient, but if it is added with the love, definitely that becomes superfood. So all food is super as per Ayurveda. That is my answer. Only thing that how you cook it and how you eat it. I hope my generally I am not giving you answer, because that is what Ayurveda thinks. The food is given a very, it should be it's said that it's like giving the ahuti to your Jathar Agni, because in stomach, modern science says HCl or hydrochloric acid, but Ayurveda consider it is a Agni Devta, and we should, what we can say, offer the gratitude, give the food with proper way. It's not dustbin to put all the things as it is. It should be given it properly, like you are giving some offering the food to the god. Similar way, you have to offer your food to yourself with having that attitude. So chewing properly is important actually. Cauliflower, broccoli, cabbage, all those things are definitely work on this because this has a protein and less fat. Polysaturated fatty acid should not be, And I have given in my slide some items, food items. I haven't read it because I don't feel it, because we know many things. I think you people knows more about food than me. I feel so. But you what I have given you the formula how to use that thing. Okay, everybody has the knife, but how to use skillfully, that is important. So all of you have some kind of things, but use it as the formula given in the Ayurveda. And in your food, see, solid, liquid, and the space should be maintained proper way, like 1/4 diet. That is what mitahara we say, right? So liquid should be one part, solid should be one part, and the space should be 50% given, so that the food will mix properly, right?
Lovely. Doctor, could you talk us through timings of eating? Because I know Ayurveda is quite big on this, on what time you should eat and how you should follow the sun cycle. So could you give us some information on that?
Yes. 6 to 10 morning time is considered as a kapha time. Okay, morning, early morning, because we just wake up and little bit you will find your body is little heavy, and slowly it's starting coming up, right? And continue with the activity after 10. So breakfast, everywhere it is written, and I also agree with this, that breakfast should be like a king. But here I would like to tell you that it should not be like a king. It should be, we don't take heavy food in the morning in the breakfast, right? We take either juice or some kind of, snacks like poha, idli, or some upuma, like that, in the morning. And that's what our body wants it that time. And then later on, as you proceed, because that is a kapha time, it is a heavy, the last food which we have taken, it has been digested, and now when you will clear your stomach in the morning, then later on your agni will be, get uh, stimulated. Then after 10, between 10 to 2 is the pitta period, in pitta priya. In that, your digestive fire is more in action. So if you take your food, heavy food, whatever the exact heavy means to you, okay, individually everybody has the different proportion. So that the food should be taken in the afternoon around 12 to 1. So that is the ideal time to take that heavy meal one time. And then later on, as we proceed later on after 2 to 6, again it becomes the vata period. Means it slowly your, the activity becomes more, and then it will reduce. So now food has been gone into your stomach, and it's now going into this intestine. And then the vata needed for digestion, moving that food. So that time you should not put more food later on. You can give a small food that we take around 4 to 6 snacks we take, right? Around 4 to 6 chai, biscuit, or somebody, might be taking some snacks. So that is okay. After then 6, if still feel hungry, then you can have your another meal around 7, 8, 7, 8 time. And that should be the not much, not heavy food. It should be lighter food, which you can just dal khichdi, moong ka khichdi, so that you can support your digestive fire should not be more stimulated, because vata is there. So maybe the digestive fire will get ignited more due to vata. So it should be in control. So you should put some food which is digestible in the night, and it should not be heavy or acidic, so that you will be not able to fall into sleep properly. So keeping this in mind, then after 8, avoid taking any food, heavy food. It's better if you feel hungry, even then you can drink milk, glass of milk, and then sleep. So I think this should be the cycle. You can maintain your tridosha in a balanced state, and this will help you to nourish your all the organs and your ovaries in the end, or your shukra dhatu.
How important is it to cook in the right utensils or cook in the right?
See, if roti, you're talking about roti, it's better if you use iron, this tawa we say, uh, pan. So that should be iron made pan should be there, so that the copper is mainly there in the iron utensil, you know. So and even you should avoid all the things which is made up of plastic, you know. Even you are keeping all ingredients in the plastic dibba, because plastic has a lot of inside chemicals which may affect your internal tissues, or it may gives a cancerous, you know, growth in your tissues. So avoid using plastic, use iron utensil or aluminum. You can use, most of us, we are not nowadays, copper vessels बहुत कम हो गया है. Even store water also we used to use, you know, in our earlier days, copper vessels, or the vessels like mitti matka हम बोलते हैं ना, what you say. So that type of vessel, even drinking water, because most of the time cooking food, we use utensil, even we add water also, so that things also stored in the proper vessel, so that when you make integrate all of them, it may create a good combination of the adding some nutritious matter into it instead of creating toxins. So yes, that is important.
Thank you so much, Doctor. This has been an incredible, knowledgeable session for me. I have learned a lot, and I'm sure other people have as well. So, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Komal, for inviting me, and thank you all of you here joining me today. I hope you all have received some kind of, you know, modification. If you are suffering from PCOD, or if somebody is suffering from PCOD, please tell them that listen to their body and don't get stressed up. So the take-home message is go with the flow, be with the nature, do what your body is telling, and align your body, mind, and soul with the help of breath, and follow some exercise. Shall we do some pranayam and in the end, and finish the things? Brahmari pranayam. We will do Brahmari pranayam, and then we will chant Om. This will help all of us to sleep properly. Okay. Close your eyes. Back neck straight. Try to feel this asana consciously. First, settle down yourself. Face relax, neck relax, shoulder relax. Your elbow should be relaxed. Hands resting on your respective knees. If you're sitting on your bed with the cross leg, fine. If you're sitting on sofa or chair, keep your leg parallel to each other, resting on the ground, and observe your posture and observe your breath. Yoga is nothing but it is an experimental science. Ayurveda is life science, and we just need to be with this life, and we can feel our life even in the illness and the stillness. Try to observe this flow of breath starting from the nostril, going down to the throat, then to the chest, then to the abdomen. Try to feel this inhalation again and again with conscious mind. When you inhale, you will realize your chest and abdomen comes up. When you exhale, your abdomen and chest goes in. Do it 3 to 4 rounds. Try to align your thoughts, your mind with your inhalation and exhalation process. This will connect yourself with the body. Now we shall do Bhramari Pranayam, where you have to inhale from both the nostril and exhale with humming sound and feel the vibration. Inhale and exhale. Inhale. Continue 3 rounds. Inhale. Last round. Inhale. Just listen to vibration without making noise and observe. Let the breath settle down. Observe the silence. Face relax, neck relax, shoulder relax, back relax. Offer the gratitude to all your organs, your brain, your body organs, your ovaries, your reproductive system, digestive system, all systems that they are working for you. Observe, we have discussed today about PCOD. We have learned how to modify diet, discipline, and lifestyle, how yoga can help, how Ayurveda is looking at the problem. Just scan all those things in your mind. And yes, Ayurveda and yoga has a solution over this. With this positive note, we should take care of our diet, rest, and discipline, and other lifestyle. We will conclude the session with 3 Omkar. Inhale. Om. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Gently rub your palm, cup your eyes, cup your face without making much noise. Try to feel your own touch. Take your hands down, neck down. Offer the gratitude to this Mother Earth and feel safe. Thank you. Take your neck up. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for coming and giving us all this information
Thank
today.
you, Komal. Thank you. Bye. Bye. All the best.